Hello everybody, welcome back to another election prediction video. This time we're looking at the 2024 House map. So with Harris in the race instead of Biden, that changes a few ratings, I would say. I mean, before Biden even dropped out, like a few days before, I was going to probably make the Republicans winning the House of Representatives. So now that Kamala Harris is in the race, that changes the game here for these House Democrats. It gives them a much better chance at retaking the House of Representatives, even. So let's just get right into it. I think we'll start off with my home state of New York, which has a bunch of competitive House races. So I agree with the rating in New York's first. The Democrat candidate here, John Avalon, he's a decent candidate. I think he'll make it a decently close race, but Long Island's sort of trending Republican. So even though this is a lean R district, it's probably going to be likely R in the 2024 election. Suozzi is probably going to win by a likely blue margin. I don't really see any Republicans having a chance against him because of how well liked he is in the district. New York's 4th district, I think this is going to flip blue, honestly. I think with Harris in the race, she's already polling better than Biden in the state of New York, leading New York polls by 14 instead of under 10. I think she's probably going to end up winning New York by about 17%, 16%, something like that. It'll trend a little bit more Republican, not a little bit, it will trend a few points more Republican than it was in the past because of Long Island. But even though this is a D plus 14 district, he is an incumbent. But even though it's a rematch, I think Laura Gillen's finally going to get revenge here, and I think she's going to be able to beat D'Esposito with higher Democratic turnout in the 2024 race. Pat Ryan, I also think he's favored. He has incumbency advantage, and I think he's going to manage to hold on here, but it'll be a bit closer. Michael Lawler. So this is an interesting, let me add a tilt category. So this is an interesting race, specifically because Mondaire Jones lost the Working Families Party's primary here, so they have two left-wing candidates in the race, and I think that hurts Mondaire Jones a little bit here. I also think that Lawler, he is an incumbent. There's also been a lot of polls out saying Lawler has been leading, or in the internal polls, so I still think Lawler has a narrow advantage here for now, just because if Mondaire Jones wins that working families primary, he would probably be a tilty race, but that potential vote split is enough to hurt him here to cause this Democratic district to turn red yet again. Mark Molinaro, more confident in this race because it is a narrow Biden district than a D plus 10. And internal polls do show Molinaro winning here, so I have this race as a lean Republican one. Brandon Williams, however, Mark Molinaro and Lawler acted like moderates in Congress. Brandon Williams has not. He's pretty much gone full-on MAGA in Congress, and that's not going to work in a D plus 11 district. So I think he's very favored to actually lose here in this rematch. So I have this race as lean blue. Let's head to California next. We got a few competitive House races here. So the 13th district, Democrats only lost against a low Latino turnout in this district. I feel very confident saying this district's probably going to flip in 2024. David Valadao, this is going to be one of those closer districts. He has acted moderate in Congress, especially on issues like gay rights. So I think that'll probably definitely help him out in this district. It is still a very Democratic district, however, which is why I'm putting this as a tilt blue race. It's a narrow flip, but I think with Kamala Harris as the presidential nominee, Democrats will get a bit of a boost in the state of California, and that'll help them down ballot in the House races. Ken Calvert's district. This is a Democrat trending district. The Democrat candidate did pretty well here, considering they didn't have a lot of funding back in 2022. This time around, though, let me just talk about the funding for all these competitive House races in California. The Democrats are pretty much outraising every single Republican in these swing House races, especially in the 41st district. So even though Ken Calvert's a long-time incumbent, I think he's probably going to go down this time because of how Democratic trending this W-shaped district is in California's 41st. So I actually am putting this race as tilt blue. I think Democrats are going to be able to narrowly flip this one. California 47, we have Dave Min. He's not the strongest candidate, but it is a narrow Democratic district. Well, back in 22, it was narrowly Democratic, and it's a double-digit Biden district. So I think Democrats will be able to win this one. I really don't think he'll actually lose this, considering that Democrats have a whole lot of momentum behind them now. So I'm putting this as a lean blue race for now. Mike Garcia. So he's actually facing a good Democratic candidate for once, who's outraising him considerably. So this is the first time in a while I think Garcia is in quite a lot of trouble here, and I think he's the underdog at this point. I even have the Democrats winning this race, and it is a double-digit Biden district. But Whitesides, he's outraising him considerably in California's 27th. So unless Mike Garcia gets a lot of money, he might actually end up losing re-election here. And I think the biggest reason why is Kevin McCarthy isn't the House Majority Leader anymore. He helped raise tons of money for swing House districts in the state of California. He helped them raise a ton of cash, and without him, they don't have those connections to raise all that money anymore. So I think that's the big reason why a lot of House Republicans are struggling in California now in terms of fundraising. And that's why I think a lot of them are favored to lose right now. All right, let's keep going through these races. So Alaska at large, Mary Patola has pretty good approval ratings, plus they have ranked choice voting. She's going to hold on. Maine 2nd also has ranked choice voting, so I think Jared Golden's going to hang on here as well. And Harris isn't polling that bad in Maine 2nd. It's a likely our race for presidential in Maine 2nd, so I think that's good enough ticket splitting for Jared Golden to narrowly win here. In Washington's 3rd, Democrats actually did very good in the Washington primary in terms of how much Democrats actually turned out. They even did pretty good in Washington's 3rd district's primary. So I think Marie Perez is narrowly favored to win here. She's facing that same awful candidate, Joe Kent, who is just not a good candidate at all, and I think she's going to beat him again. Oregon's 5th, it's a likely blue Biden district, and Bynum, the Democrat, has actually beat Lori Chavez DeRimmer in state legislative races in Oregon before. So I'm putting this as a lean blue race. I think she's in for a tough time considering she's not facing such a weak candidate like last time. Montana's 1st remains as a lean Republican district. Again, I do think Tester will help boost the Democrats' odds here, but not enough to win the district. Arizona, I still think Trump's narrowly favored in the state of Arizona, and that bodes well for House Republicans in this state. There's still just tilt Republican races, however, so it's still possible for Democrats to win them. But for now, with Trump narrowly favored in the state of Arizona, both these races will probably go tilt Republican. With Democrats doing better pretty much everywhere, I think New Mexico's 2nd district can go from tilt blue to lean blue for now. He is facing a rematch, Vasquez, but like in 2022, I think he's going to win this time. He also has incumbency advantage, so that bodes well for him. The state of Colorado has 2 competitive races. In the 8th district, it's a more suburban district, but with Democratic trends boding well for Democrats in the future, I think they're going to win this one, and I think the Colorado's 3rd district, even though Lauren Boebert's out the race, it's going to be one of the more competitive districts. Presidentially wise, it's probably going to trend very blue, so this race is totally within grasps of the Democrats' hands here, so I'm putting this as a tilt Republican race instead of lean Republican race. Nebraska's 2nd's up next, and I think Bacon's in quite a bit of trouble. Democrat internals have the Democrat leading here, and usually Democrat internals tend to be pretty good in the Nebraska 2nd. And he nearly lost last time to the same candidate, Tony Vargas, and Vargas is actually getting a lot more money this time compared to 2022. And with Harris probably going to end up winning Nebraska 2nd by a likely blue margin, I think Vargas is the narrow favorite right here currently. And a lot of Republicans have just pretty much been labeling Don Bacon as a rhino. So that could potentially hurt him in this race because they just don't like him for being too moderate or something. So that might actually hurt the Republicans just enough here to make them lose Nebraska second, and I think currently that's what we're on path to see. Iowa has a few races here. I'm putting this Iowa second to safe Republican, Iowa's first to lean to likely Republican, and Iowa's third district. I think it'll be a bit the more competitive one, putting this as lean Republican. With Biden out the race, Democrats aren't going to hemorrhage so much votes in Iowa anymore. With Harris picking Tim Walz as her VP, this easily makes Minnesota second, a likely blue district. I think Democrats are very favored to win here. In Wisconsin's two competitive House districts, we have a former Democrat House rep running for Wisconsin's first, so I think it'll be a closer race. It's not a very Republican district either, so I think this is going to be a competitive one. Democrats are also putting money in this race, same with Wisconsin's third district, so that's enough to put both these races as lean Republican ones. In North Carolina's first, I think this is a narrow tilt blue district. I think presidentially North Carolina is going to be pretty close, and that really helps Democrat turnout in this narrowly won district. So I'm putting this as a tilt blue one. Let's head down to Virginia now. So with Virginia, let me just get a sip of my water. All right. With Virginia, I think we could probably put the first district as safe Republican. I really don't know why it's rated as likely. But we have two competitive races here. The seventh, the Democrat candidate, he isn't the strongest. There's a bit of an issue there for Democrats. But it's still a likely blue district, and I think it'll probably end up going lean blue here. I could see him probably underperforming Harris in the state of Virginia. With Virginia's second, we have an incumbent Republican here in a narrow Biden district. So I think Jen Kiggans is still decently favored here. I'd probably put this race as about... I do think Harris will do a bit better than Biden back in the polling here. I think Harris probably wins Virginia by about 8-ish. 7-ish, something like that. That's probably enough for Jen Kiggans to narrowly win. So I'm probably going to put this race as a tilt Republican race. I think it'll be a bit closer than we're thinking. Unless we get internal polls showing our way up, then maybe I would change my mind. But I think putting this as a tilt race is fair for now. It is Virginia. It is a very Democratic state. But let's see the next few races we got one House race in New Jersey here. My fix Josh Gottheimer's district to be safe blue. But Tom Keene, I'm very confident in saying he's probably going to end up winning re-election here. His family does have a legacy in New Jersey. I think New Jersey is going to be a bit closer than 2020 as well. So I think he's going to have a pretty easy time at winning re-election here. Let's head to Ohio next. We got two competitive races here, the 13th and the 9th. Marcy Kaptur continues to do pretty well in her own internal polling, so I have this as a lean blue race. I could even get to likely blue potentially. Amelia Sykes, I'd put this race as lean blue as well. I don't think it's a tilt blue race anymore. So let's keep going through these races. I think we could head to Pennsylvania next. We have a lot of close races here. So the 10th is a trending Democratic district, so even though Trump won it by nearly 5 percentage points, I'm putting this as a lean Republican race. Cartwright and Susan Wild. I think Susan Wild has a pretty good path of victory, honestly, but it'll only be a tilt race. I think it'll be one of the more competitive races. Whoever wins Pennsylvania will probably drag these two races to their side, honestly, but actually, I think Susan Wild would probably win even if Trump wins Pennsylvania, because you take a look at the district here, it's a 0.6% Biden district, but she did have a pretty sizable victory in the House before. Cartwright as well, he won when Trump won in 2016, but his district has been trending Republican, so if Trump wins Pennsylvania, then that would shift this race to tilt Republican. But I don't know. Would he be able to win? That's a good question. He did win by more than Susan Wild did. So I think Cartwright still has a pretty good chance, even if Trump takes Pennsylvania. But I don't think that's going to happen, right? I think Harris probably actually narrowly takes the state of Pennsylvania currently. So Pennsylvania 8th is a pretty difficult race to predict, even if Trump wins the state of PA. But I'd still would bet on him to win here. I think he knows how to win a close race, but I think the moment he retires, this race is going to go lean Republican. That's it for that district if he gets out of office there. So let's see what races we have left. Oh, Michigan. So there has been some polls that have shown that John James is actually struggling in his district. He's only up by like 1 percentage point. So I'm putting this race down to a tilt Republican race. And with Democrat chances improving a lot in the state of Michigan, Harris doing a lot better than Biden, enough to make this a lean blue state for her. I think that doesn't bode well for John James's chances. Again, Biden only lost his district by 1%. The Democrats could very well flip this district. They almost won this district back in 2022 even. So I think we could fairly call this a tilt Republican race. The 7th polls have been done here showing Barrett up by a good margin in the 7th district, but it's going to be a bit more competitive. I don't think he's going to win by 7 like it's saying. I think it's going to be a tilt Republican race, but I think he's narrowly favored there. The 8th district, I think the Democrats are going to narrowly win this one. So a lot of tilt races in Michigan. Michigan's a very important state, but right now I think Democrats are probably going to narrowly hold the 8th because it's a bit more Democratic than the 7th or the 10th. So let's take a look at the entire map. We have 220 Democrats to 215 Republicans. It's about where I see all these races so far. I don't think it would change the ratings on any of them. Even if Trump wins PA, I think I'd still put 7th and the 8th district as tilt blue, honestly. I don't think that affects much. I think Cartwright and Susan Wild knows how to get those ticket splitters over to their side. But that's currently where I see things. I think Harris is going to win the Electoral College, and that's going to help Democrats' chances in the House of Representatives and winning a lot of these competitive races. But that's where I have it. A 5-seat Democrat majority here. They're beating them by 5. So, yeah, that's currently where I see things. Anyway, if you're new to this channel, highly recommend subscribing if you enjoy content like this. Other than that, thanks so much for watching, and let me know if you have any video ideas. Besides that, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.